Yeah, I sent you a text.
I knew I had the 15, I knew I had the volleyball. Are you gonna just use that to just buy extra tickets? Yeah.
I'm going tomorrow.
What I said was that the $8 you want to just buy extra tickets. Okay. I wouldn't mind you can. And then you just go But what I'm saying with that I'm saying you would buy extra tickets, not what we pay for it here.
In the back.
But I knew, I knew that 13, and I see that 13, I knew I had that too, yeah.
I had it twice. 13.
Yeah, I had it.
Look at my number. Look at my sheet.
Yeah, just use myself.
Jones?
Here.
Myers?
Here.
States? Washington? Yeah. Williams? Here.
Order supporting approval and extension of an application by Sadu. Thank you. For a renewal of Class 8 designate for economic development pursuant to Cook County Real Estate Assessment Application Rates as amended. Mary, you want to start on this?
This came to me via the village. As you know, Dunkin' Donuts has been fairly successful in the municipality, and they were at one time contemplating a move. They do want to stay where they are. They have a Class 8 now. This is a renewal. They are able to stay there with the Class 8. So this is allowable by the county for renewal.
There's no changes at all in the original one to the renewal?
You are correct. So it reduces from the 25% down to the 10% assessment rate, which is what the Class 8 is.
Mary.
Trustee.
Trustee Burgess.
Yes. How many years are we talking?
This is a municipal extension, so it's 10 years, it's actually 12 years. The 10th year is when they would come to you again if they wanted to renew. So the 10 years is at the 10%, then it bumps up to 12, then it bumps up to 22, and then 25.
Okay, so right now they're at 25, correct?
No, right now they're at 10 because they have a Class 8 now. This is a renewal.
Okay. So when will they go to the 25?
And at the end of 12 years.
12 years. And what about sales tax? This is just property tax, correct?
You are correct.
Okay.
There's no sales tax.
Any other questions? All righty. This is on the agenda to be approved tonight. So, all right, move to item number 3. And we have some representatives here from WinPAC. So this is an ordinance supporting approving of the consenting of the application by WinPAC Portion Packaging Inc. for a Class A designation for WinPAC expansion development pursuant Cook and Will County's real property assessment classification ordinance as amended. Thunder, you want to start it off?
Very exciting project for the village. I'm so happy for you. When Pat came here a few years ago, as you know, we have about a 300,000 square foot facility. Is that right? Sauk?
260,
Yeah, 260.
round it up.
Their intention is to build another like facility. Yeah, and it will connect to their existing building. Their original building has a Class 8. They have asked us for a Class 8 on the extension, on the expansion, begins with an E. So, and again, very exciting for the municipality and TIF 3.
Correct. I just have a question. Is this also to 12 years?
It is, sir.
Okay. Now, it won't affect the TIF at all, correct? This is just a property. It won't affect because I know that.
Actually, it's going to affect the TIF in a good way.
Okay.
Any increment.
Well, I mean, yes, because they're going to build, so we will get impacted.
You are correct.
We will get impacted, which is great.
Well, you're going to get property taxes in the TIF.
Yes, absolutely. But I'm just wondering, I'm hoping that are they going to, as far as, and I know that they're here, they're not going to ask any questions right now, but as far as any employment or anything like that, that's something that we kind of hope that, we can get involved in as far as local employment. So I'm just putting that out there.
Actually, I think that Mr. Sauk, the president of WinPAC Portion Packaging, are here, and they can certainly answer any of your questions.
Well,
I've met with Mr. Sauk on a couple of different occasions, and their intent is to increase employment.
Yeah, because you guys, it's very hard to get in. I guess you have to make a phone call or write a letter, and I don't know, probably get FBI clearance to get into your building, because I tried to come there several times.
We've met quite a few times, and again, I haven't shared with the board our discussions because we know that some of the stuff that you're still working with your board.
Right.
I don't know how much you can share tonight with the board, but if there's any type of update that you could give the board, most of the board would be more than just me an update, probably here for the first time.
Yeah.
And if you'd like to approach the podium, there's a microphone there, if you just turn it on by pressing the button.
Sure.
Thank you.
I think it was the green light on.
Green light is on.
Okay.
Yes. Well,
There you go. I'll turn it on.
So maybe just a little bit of background very quickly. We moved into that building in 2012. We've grown the employment base in that facility alone up to about 150 employees over the last almost 4 years. It'll be 4 years come March of 2016. And Mayor Hanks, you've been through the building recently, and certainly you saw our production floor is basically full of equipment. So we're fully occupied. We consider that building fully occupied, fully utilized in terms of the intent of manufacturing and producing, and certainly from an employment perspective, we're very happy to have created 150 new jobs. A lot of them local. We have been recruiting very heavily. I hate to think that getting an application into the organization is a deterrent to employment. Certainly, we've got a process for completing an application. We do have a screening process that we go through for potential employees, and it is very rigorous. I will admit that. We have been actively recruiting a number of different ways, both with walk-in applicants as well as several temporary employment agencies where we brought people in on a temp to permanent basis. So we are exploring all avenues because, given the size of our employee base between Sauk Village and the original facility in South Chicago Heights, which, by the way, is still operating at the same level today as it was in 2012. So we haven't shrunk that operation, we haven't moved any jobs really over to the new facility. That's still operating at the same level. But given that we're approaching probably 400, 450 employees just between the two facilities, we do have kind of a regular turnover rate within our employee base. So we are actively recruiting, and we are very interested in all avenues that we can bring people in. Again, I hate to hear that from some perspective it's maybe more difficult, or the perception is that it's very difficult to get in. But we do have an open door with applications available for people to drop them in. I would encourage, though, that those folks that are interested start at the South Chicago Heights facility, because that's really where we're doing our main intake of applications and then evaluating those applicants for jobs, whether it's in that facility or the Sauk Village facility. So looking forward, we're at the point where we're evaluating a final decision on where our expansion is going to be. Certainly the intent in 2012 and even the year before that, when we started building in the Sauk Village, was to grow that facility. We bought 29 acres on land. We're occupying about half of it, with the intent of expanding onto the other half, the other 15 plus acres. So that is our objective, that is our goal. We have a couple of challenges to work through as we identify the scope of the project, particularly in the area of power requirements and getting power from ComEd. With Mayor Hank's help and some other folks I see up there on the board, we did manage to get a favorable outcome in dealing with ComEd in terms of cost and upfront capital that WinPAC would have to invest to facilitate that.
That was going to be about a, what, 12 million?
Originally they came in at about $11.5 million. Since then, that price has come down to $7.5 million to bring the power in. Part of that investment is to upgrade the substation off of Cottage Grove. But the key for us is that all $7.5 million of that dollars that we would spend with ComEd is available for refund under the Rider DE program. The original proposal, about half of the $11.5 million would have been a sunk cost for us. We would not have been able to get that back under the Rider DE. So we have to have some pretty aggressive growth plans, or some pretty aggressive growth over the 10-year period in order to recoup that $7.5 million. But certainly that's our intent, is to grow at that level. So that's part of the investment, is the $7.5 million with ComEd. The other piece of the investment is over $15 million just in the facility itself. And
Okay.
that's,
No, I was going to say, I've been involved with you guys when you first started here, and it's been a great, partnership with the village. You came out, and it was just, I was just asking, a lot of people ask me, that's why I was coming up there to find out, but now I got my answer as far as going to Chicago Heights facility. But WinPAC has always been, and I'm glad that they are, hoping that we can get more people in the industrial park, off of this. But I was just wondering how does a person go about applying for it? And I see now that it's going to be that process, which is not a problem. I mean, this is your company, so you have your own set of rules, which makes sense.
right.
But I'd like to congratulate you guys for sticking with us. I remember when you first came out, when you first had at the very beginning, when we was at the tent, and everything, how it all started at the very beginning to where you're at now. Hopefully, that we can do whatever we can to make that happen. But I'd just like to say thank you very much, and hopefully in the future, maybe we can get more businesses through this, and probably more things involved in that industrial park because of it. But I do have one last question. Are you going to build a spur, or are you going to use the existing spur?
The intent is to add a second spur. And the spur is there to supply our raw materials.
Correct.
So based on the long-term growth of the facility, once we're fully occupied in the 5 to 10-year period upon completion, we anticipate needing that second spur in order to provide the raw materials that we use for our manufacturing.
Everything you said, 6-7 years ago when you first started this, has come to play, because you said that back then that was what you wanted to do. The plans is to have a second facility built with another spur. So,
Yes.
and that's what I love to hear when businesses say what they're going to do and they actually do it.
Well, I'm glad I can stand up here and tell you that is going to happen.
Thank you.
So certainly appreciate your comments, Trustee Burgess. Thank you very much.
Thank
But
you.
also appreciate the support, especially over the last couple of months as we worked through some of the challenges we had in rationalizing our project. I guess the last thing, obviously, we have this resolution in front of the board for approval. I would ask, support for that resolution. That certainly is an important factor for us as we determine kind of the total cost of our project. Any incentives that are available, need to be considered and weighed in, and this is one that's important to us. So,
Before you leave, maybe you can introduce who's with
Yes.
you today.
so this is David Stacy. So my role as Director of Manufacturing, I've got responsibility for the manufacturing operations in two here in Chicago, one up in Toronto. David Stacy is the president of Winpack Portion Packaging. As of January 1st, several of you, I think, know the name Jim McMacken. Some of you may have met Mr. McMacken. He retired effective January 1st, so David's taking over. Jim was located just outside of Philadelphia, where our business unit corporate offices are, if you will. Mr. Stacy will be working out of the Sauk Village facility. So that's part of the executive office's transition from out east to the Midwest here into the new facility.
I have been looking back 5 years, so we have a good history. Glad to be here, and thanks for your support. And like you, I've watched this facility grow, so I know I've got some big shoes to fill.
Mayor, I also think it's important to note that we are working on a full incentive package for Winpack, and that they are in the process of making a presentation in February, I believe.
Yeah, so we have our board meeting in February, our Winpack Board of Directors meeting in February, at which point, assuming that, it makes sense for us as we look at the total project, scope of the project costs and all these things, we'll be presenting a request for capital to start the investment this year yet. We would be looking to break ground as soon as we got approval, as soon as the weather broke this spring. And,
Hopefully it's spring.
No, not days like today.
Just so the board knows, we've addressed just about every obstacle that faces this project. We were able to pull a team together to look at the issues with ComEd. We were able to address the issues, I think, with the engineers. And there was something else that we ended up, the state. So we're able to get those issues taken care of. And then I think we're also trying to work on some funds for the rail spur.
We are working on that, as well as we're looking at another enterprise zone benefit that we believe would be substantial savings to them, and it's the state's portion of utility taxes. So we're looking to see if we have to include all of the facilities or just this one. So we're still waiting for an answer from the state. Surprise.
And keeping a business here in Sauk Village, it's important not only for our residents, but for our community also. And you've already started putting investment in. This is another major investment that you're getting ready to put into our community. So we're very much appreciative of it. And again, especially coming to me before looking to go elsewhere and moving, we appreciate the opportunity to be able to work with you to make this project a success. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your help.
Any other questions? All right, this is on the agenda tonight to come up for a vote. So thank you very much. Hey, is there a question?
I'm looking at the two documents that we received, one for Dr. Nora, and the other was for Winpack, we just discussed. To me, it's a matter of a lack of attention to duty. I see president using some forms, mayor using other forms, and on the signature page, I see acting clerk, and I don't know what that means. I know we had an acting village clerk.
That was my error, Justin.
Okay. I don't care that it's a draft, these are errors. That's all you have to say. So these type of things should be corrected before it comes for us to review, because we're trying to see this in its final form. And the draft is a preliminary to that. And the errors in the draft, and we have to reconsider and review the final form, make sure those errors were corrected. There's just a lot of unnecessary time that's utilized. So I just want to bring those things forward.
All right, thank you very much. Any other questions? All right, move to item number 4, public comment. All questions and comments must be directed to the mayor. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to comment on topics on agenda items only. Each speaker will be allowed 1 opportunity to speak. Any comments from the audience? Seeing none, ask for a motion to adjourn. Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. All right. Meeting adjourned. We'll start again at 7 o'clock. Thank you.